जगद्गुरु। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। बोलो श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। सर्वदेवी सर्वदेवता की जय। So friends, at this point in time, we of course will come into the Kirtan and then of course Pravachan, beautiful bhajans, Pravachan from Mujahara with Swamiji. So we invite you all to please join in and be part of our wonderful service here for this evening and in this beautiful and wonderful community here of Lange. So the residents and son of this beautiful community, of course, we join in this beautiful, beautiful rendition. Om Ganganapate Namo Namah Siddhi Vinayaka Namo Ashtavinayaka Namo Namah Ganpati Baba More Ganganapate Namo Namah Siddhi Vinayaka Namo Om Ganganapate Ashtavinayaka Namo Ganpati Baba More Ashtavinayaka Namo Ganpati Baba More Ganganapate Namo Siddhi Vinayaka Namo Ashtavinayaka Namo Ganpati Baba More Om Ganganapate Namo Siddhi Vinayaka Namo Ashtavinayaka Namo Ganpati Baba More Om Ganganapate Namo Namo Siddhi Vinayaka Namo Namo Ashtavinayaka Namo Ganpati Baba More बोलो श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय। So we do one beautiful kirtan.
Testament.
बोलो।
सुख के सब साथी दुख में न को मेरे राम मेरे राम तेरा नाम एक साचा दो जाना को मेरे राम मेरे राम रुक के सब साथ दुख मेरा को जीवन आदि जाने जाया जीवन आदि जाने जाया ज्योति माया ज्योति का तेरे पाने तेरे पाप की एक साचा जो जान को कुछ मेरा कुछ तेरा ना कुछ मेरा ना कुछ तेरा ये जग जोगी वाला तेरा राजा होया रंगत देखा राजा होया रंगत देखा हंस कैसा होई
ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वती नमो नमः। श्री गुरु चरण कमलेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री गोविंदाय नमो नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय। ओम नमः शिवाय। ओम नमः शिवाय।
Katha to Devi Parvati as she listens attentively. Bharadwaj is also giving Katha as they are listening to Pravachan of the Divine Lord. Why? Because it is the cleansing process. It is cleansing the mirror of the mind so that we will be able to have a vivid lake, a lake that is pure. And therefore, the process of avagaman. Avagaman means the coming and the going processes. Taking birth and death, birth and death, the coming and the going, the duality can also come to an end. But the only way we can stop this from incurring is through the process of satsanga. Binu satsanga viveka na hoi. Ram kripa binu sura vanasoi. It is through Ram Katha that we are able to purge the mind and purge the very negative varsanas, the negative qualities, and become closer to Bhagavan. It's the only way. By chanting the name of the Lord, chanting the name of the Lord, we are able to purify, purge the mind, and become closer to the lotus-like feet of the Lord, Prabhu Shiva. Tonight, as we dedicate Pravachan, Katha, Ram Katha to the late Dr. Roopnarine Singh, we pray that may Bhagavan Shri Ram bring liberation to his Atma, to that soul in this stage of transference, in this stage, the changes, the many stages as the Atma will undergo. And through these wonderful 10 nights of Katha, Satsanga, we embellish ourselves in Katha so that that Atma will be merged with union with Bhagavan, with union with Lord. So devotees, as I welcome all of you tonight as we join in Pravachan, in Ram Katha. It's not just a story. The Katha means his autobiography. It has been lived. It has been told, and we are rewriting the pages of Katha in this age of Kali Yuga. So we listen to Ram Katha Pravachan. श्री संत तुलसीदास जी कहते हैं और श्री राम कथा स्मरण और श्री वंदना करता हूँ we pray. Oh. वर्णानामृत संधानाम रसानाम छन्दसामपि मंगलानाम च कर्तारो वन्दे वाणी विनायको भवानी शंकरो वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वास रूपिणो याभ्यं विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वन्तस्तमीश्वरम् वन्दे बोधमयं नित्यं गुरु शंकर रूपिणो यमस्कृतो हे वक्रूपी चंद्रा सर्वाद्य वंदते सीताराम गुणराम पुण्य अरण्य विहारिणो वन्दे वसुध विज्ञानो कपीश्वर कपीश्वरो कपीश्वर कपीश्वरो ओम रामाय रामचंद्राय रामचंद्राय
चंद्रवेल से रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः। ओम नीलम भुजशाम मलकोमलंगम सीता समारूपितुभामुभागम पाणो महाशायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम् नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम्। श्री रामायण सुमिरन। जो सुमिरत सीधी हो गणनायक करीबत बदन जो सुमिरत सीधी हो गणनायक करी बद बदन करहु अनुग्रह सोई बुद्धि राशि शुभ गुण सदन जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम मोद होई भाषा चरे गिरिवर गहना जासु कृपाय सुधन्या प्रभु सकल हरि मल जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम नील सरोरहु श्याम करुणारुणा वाणिज नयना करहु सुमम और सनाचीर सागर शयना कुंज इंदु सब दे कुमार मन करुणायक जारी दीन भरने करौ कृपा जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम बंदो गुरु कृपा सिंधु नर रूप हरि महाबुआ तव जाशु भजन रवि करनी करा जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम बंदो गुरु परम परागा जय श्री राम सूरज भय भय सब अनुराग जय श्री राम अभय मोर में कारण चारो जय श्री राम जमन सकल भव राज प्रभाव जय श्री राम सत्य शंभु विभूति जय श्री राम मंगल मंगल मूल प्रचोदि जन मन मंगल मुकमल धरणी जय श्री राम तीरम तीर पूर्ण विषकरणी जय श्री राम श्री गुरु परमनि श्रवण ज्योति जय श्री राम सुमिरन कीर्त कृष्ण होती जय श्री राम कलन मोहतम सुप्रकाशो जय श्री राम दीन भाग अवतारण जाशो जय श्री राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम जय श्री राम बोलो राम 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 सीता राम 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 बोलो राम 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 सीता राम 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 बोलो राम राम सीता राम बोलो राम 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 सीता राम 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 बोलो राम 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 सीता राम राम प्रभु श्री राम चंद्र भगवान की जय श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणं नव कंजलोचन कंज मुकुपर कंज पर कंजानुनं श्री राम चंद्र कृपालु भजुमन हरण भव भय दारुणं नव कंजलोचन कंज मुख पर कंज पर कंजानुनं श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम प्रेम सुलो सियावर राम चंद्र जय। सद्गुरु शिवानंदा सरस्वती महाराज की जय। श्री रामानंदा सरस्वती महाराज की जय। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। अखण्डमण्डलकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्परं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानं ज्ञातिमिरन्दस्य चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः।
Tonight, taken from the Sri Ramacharitra, just a couple of chaupais and dohas taken from the Sri Ramacharita entitled tonight Gems of Ramacharita. Gems of Ramacharita. What is a gem? A gem is something very precious, something very valuable. And only when we recognize the value of the gem, we cherish it, we will preserve it. But if we don't know what a gem is, and we haven't recognized the value of it, then of course it becomes useless to us. It becomes useless. So, in the same way, Gems of Sri Ramacharita explains the power of the human form. The power of this human form. And when we understand the power of the human form, just like a gem, we understand the value of the gem. We also know the value of the human form, so we know what it is worth. But when we don't know what is the value of the gem, what happens? Then we don't know what is the value of human life, and we waste it. We throw it away. We use substance to continue to erode the human body by putting pollutants and toxins and all the tamasic things, all the rajasic things, all of the different things that are considered to be poisonous for this body. Poisonous. So what are we doing really? We have now begun to demerit the human form. Demerit the human form. Tonight's Pravachan Katha, Gems of Sri Ramacharita, as we listen to Sant Tulsidas Ji. He explains in Ram Katha the very value as we listen to the Pravachan. But before going into Pravachan, we have a beautiful bhajan.
This beautiful addition to the wonderful form of Prabhu Ranjanji. So we invite you all. To join me to sing to the part of this beautiful satsanga. Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram. 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 Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram.
बोलो राम बोलो राम बोलो राम बोलो राम बोलो राम बोलो राम श्री राम जय जय राम बोलो राम सीता देवी माता की जय और पुत्र हनुमान की जय ऐसे कभी पकड़ करता है बस करे बंदे कर दे से मन में राम बसा दे of course prepare your mind to hear the Harikatha of the Lord. This is of course to cleanse of course the mind and chant the holy name of the Lord whenever you get the opportunity to. And we're engaged in such of course under the Reverend auspices of course of our Reverend Swamiji. Don't let this moment pass you by. Chant the holy name of the divine Lord, and of course you get great darshan blessings. So to our Reverend Swamiji, a beautiful pravachan, of course, and gems of devotionals to you all.
राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय नर तन समानी केवल जीव चराचर जातन जय राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम नरक स्वर्ग परनिशरे ज्ञान वैराग भक्ति शुभ देहि राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय करती करही राम पद पूजा राम भरोस हृदय नहीं दूजा सिया राम जय जय राम Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Umari Umara Sani Janan Dosha तुझे ही तुम्हारी सहित परिवार राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम जय जय प्रभु श्री रामचंद्र की जय शरणम नरत समान केवल जही नहीं जीव चराचर जात न जही नरक स्वर्ग अपर निशनी ज्ञान वैराग भक्ति शुभनी. It translates and transliterates into being how great is this human birth, how great is this human form, that we have all attained this human form, not just by instance, but for a very important purpose. We have taken this human form. There's no greater form than this human birth. Out of 8 out of 8.4 billion species of life, this birth is considered to be the highest among all of the species in this animal kingdom. Highest among all. This is why Bhagavan Sri Ram places particular emphasis in recalling and reiterating that this birth is so very prudent, so very distinct, because there's no other form like it. None. Even the animals, in their own instinct, they will have their method of how to communicate via the senses. But yet, they cannot speak. Yet, they cannot put their hands together, jure the palms, and pray. Yet, they cannot walk to the mandir and gather the flowers and the fruits and to perform havan like we do. So, it is invaluable, this human form, because we can do all of these things. This is why we are on top of the animal kingdom. And all the other animals, they are tempting. They are trying somehow to become liberated, because every time they become liberated, they will enter into a new form, enter into a new species of life that will take you closer and closer to this stage of being a human being. And when we have the human form, what do we do there? Mhm. We do so many terrible things to this body that it is unwarranted, that we ask ourselves, what is the purpose of having this human gift, this human form? So, we need to take care of the human form, first of all. We need to take care of this body for it to work well. So, it needs to be not only medicated, hmm, but we have to do meditation also. The meditative aspect. The meditative aspect is important, but the meditative aspect is equally important. We must have an equilibrium. We must have a balance between both. You can't have too much of meditation, okay? You have just enough. And of course, meditation will complement our equilibrium, the balance that we must have in this physical world. Bhagavan Sri Ram makes it very imperative that we understand how valuable this human form is, because no other being in this world
can assume this form. We are lucky. We are fortunate to have this human birth. And because of it, Bhagavan Sri Ram tells us that Karti Karihi Ram Pada Puja, Ram Bardosa Hidai Nahi Puja, Gunahi Tumari Samuja Nija Dosha, Pujahi Tumari Sahita Parivara. He says that having the human form, what can we do now with this human form? It is because of this human form we can use our very hands to perpetually adore the feet of Bhagavan Shri Ram. We can use these hands, use these lips, use the entire human anatomy to glorify Bhagavan. Last day, Swamiji was here. I spoke about in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verses 27. Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yogi Bhakta Priyachite. And I gave the explanation and the philosophy behind the very meaning, the translation. It goes beyond the tangible offerings of fruits and flower and water and leaves. I gave you the explanation, if you can recall, the human body itself being worshipped, becoming part of the pantram, the pushpam, the palam, and the tolam, utilizing the entire human body to worship Bhagavan. This is what Sri Krishna wants from us. Not the material, physical fruits and flowers and water. Yes, we can offer all of that. But he says it's a very important ingredient, and that ingredient is with prema, with love, with bhakti, with devotion. These are the ingredients we use to worship Bhagavan. And when we understand that this human form is so great, and understand that Bhagavan Sri Krishna is saying, offer yourself, surrender thyself to me, then what will happen? You will come to me. If you surrender to me, then you will come to me. And this is why tonight we have no fear whatsoever that Dr. Singh would have practiced and lived a life by surrender, by living the Gita, not only writing the Gita, but living the Gita. And so, in his life, in his attributes, as he tries to mirror the very Gita itself, surrendering to the Lord, surrendering to the Lord. Buddhi matam varishtam, surrendering to the Lord. And therefore, Bhagavan Sri Ram is telling us the same. Let us surrender. Let us use our hands to clasp, to prostrate, to do worship to Bhagavan. Because it is that karma you will be burning up. Use the hands and we're doing japam. Swamiji was doing japam before we began. And so, as we do japam, it is got to nullify, it is to purify, it is to remove past karma and to create a positive karma for our future. Therefore, purifying ourselves, it is through the very utterance of the name of the Lord Bhagavan, Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram, chanting his wonderful name. And so, by chanting his divine name, by performing the worship to the divine Lord, by making such tangible offerings to the Lord, it is good. It will become noticed, it will become recognized. But there is something very important that Bhagavan Sri Ram is telling to all of us. If we do not use our practical common sense, when I was in the university, one time my lecturer came in and a class of 300 students. And he said today, or professor, he said, today we're going to speak about common sense. And there it was on the projector, on the screen, common sense. And everybody looked at each other, all our classmates, and we were saying, What is he talking about today? Of course, it was a topic in psychology. And he says today we're going to look at the practicality of common sense. How can we utilize common sense, which we term as street sense to understand? Because it is important to evaluate what common sense is. Common sense is an everyday practice that will help you to enable yourself to move around without difficulties. Common sense helps you to maneuver through difficulties. So it is simple as stopping by a traffic light. Common sense will tell you when you see red, what do? Stop. And green means go, and yellow means go faster, right? No, 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 no. We have to pay attention to the traffic light, right? Yellow or amber doesn't mean go faster. It means you have to start slowing down. Start slowing down. But we are so caught up with everything. What happens sometimes we don't know how to slow down. We are always in a hurry. So we know it's time to go, time to go, time to go. This is the rhythm of life. But common sense will tell you you need to stop at the traffic light when it says red. Otherwise, what will happen? You will run the risk of endangering not only yourself, but your loved ones that who may be traveling with you. Isn't that so? So we pay particular attention to common sense, the value of what life itself presents. You don't need to have a degree or a PhD to understand what common sense is. It is simple logic that will save your very life. And so, Bhagavan Sri Ram is telling to us that I have given to you this human body, the human birth, the human faculties, and the wisdom, the knowledge which is common sense, to know what is right, what is wrong. Simple. What is right and what is wrong. And when we do this evaluation of understanding what is right and what is wrong, then what happens? We can evaluate to know that if we perform 1 ounce of devotion, will give you what? Will give you a result. And if we perform 1 ounce of bad karma, negative karma, you will also get that result. Hmm? So it is both equated. It is both equated. So we're looking at the good things over the things that are not so good, the bad things. And he says, we are gifted with the option of choice. So he gives us a choice now. Bhagwan says, okay, this is what it is. You have the green light and you have the red light. Which one? How are we going to obey the laws? We need to obey the laws, right? So therefore, he gives us the option to choose. You can stop at this light and save your life. Or you can break the light and run the risk of death. Hmm? Death in the sense of bad decision. So, what is the choice? What is the option? Naraka Swarga Aparnishanai, it says. Hmm? That Naraka Swarga Aparnishanai Jnana Vairagya Bhakti Shubhadehi. That this human body, we can use the intellect, the intelligence, the common sense, to use the hands to pray to God, to chant the name of the Lord, to perform charity, austerity, astheria. And when we do all of these things, this will be meritorious for us because we will inherit the positive attributes of doing that, giving charity, performing puja, doing your seva. These are the things that will help us to remove nullify the bad karmas. These are the things. So it will help us to begin climbing the staircase. You see where Lord Krishna is? He is up there on the altar, right? But in order to get to him, you have to take steps. You can't sit there and expect to reach Lord Krishna, right? We have to get up. We have to start our journey step by step, and eventually you climb the staircase to reach up by him, right? In the same way, climbing the staircase each day is like performing your devotion you do. It is climbing the staircase every day. Every day you like to do that. Every day you offer your job. Every day you place your arti to the Lord. Then you are merging yourself in that consciousness, in that Chaitanya, and therefore, when you merge yourself in that chaitanya, in that consciousness, and we begin climbing that staircase, then what is happening? You are making a conscious choice to worship God that will take you to the heavenly abode. But if we use our same body and intelligence and senses and do actions that will desecrate and bring destruction to the human body, then what we are doing, we are not ascending the ladder, we will be descending the ladder. And he says here, of course, Naraka Swarga Apanishanai. Then instead of going up to the heavenly regions, you will be going down to Naraka Swarga Sarthaka. Naraka. Naraka means the hellish regions, the lowish regions, the patal, low that we don't want to go. So we have to remember to tell ourselves to be good human beings every day. This is why Gurudev, Jagat Guru, Swami Shivananda, he says, do good and be good because that goodness will bring about a result. When you are good, not only to others, but you're good to yourself, it becomes natural. It's instinctual. When you're good to yourself. So, for example, you can't be diabetic and then you see a big chunk of cake in front of you and decide, well, I want to eat this whole cake. What are we saying to ourselves? Is that treating the body fairly? Now, I'm not saying don't have a piece of the cake, a piece. Yeah, what's Swamiji saying? A piece. You're not going to have a whole slice of the cake because what's going to happen? You know you're diabetic, then you run the risk of getting sick. You run the risk of sending the sugar level up. You can put yourself in a coma. But having a little bit, it can be balanced. It can be balanced. Hmm? So you run the risk, if we are not good to our own selves. Hmm? You see today, I feel like drinking a Coke, that Coca-Cola soft drink, and it is not good for us. But having a little bit, Torah say, little bit, nothing is wrong. But don't dhapule the whole bottle of the Coca-Cola. Oh, Bhagwan, you are not being good to yourself. So you see, we run the risk of it because karma is there right there, immediately, instant reaction. Drink all the coke, an instant reaction. What's going to happen? You put yourself in a coma, send up the diabetes, you get yourself sick. So we are responsible for our own choices. Bhagavan has given to us the choices. And so it is common sense. That common sense, the choice to choose whether we want to be good and do good and to climb the staircase to Bhagavan Krishna to attain salvation and moksha, or to do the things that will cause harm to our own self and put yourself out into a coma of unwarranted actions. Therefore, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, rather Sri Ram, is telling to us, let us be good human beings. And good human beings means discipline. Discipline. Just today, I had one devotee communicating with me from Orlando, Florida. And she says, Swamiji, I noticed that when you attend the functions, you will carry a staff with you. Yeah? You carry a staff with you. So she asked, why is it that I see you are doing arti to the staff and you are bowing to the staff and holding this dwaj, this flag, this danda with a flag on top of the dwaj? And I said to her, Bibi, the reason why we carry the staff as a Swamiji, it reminds us all the time. Firstly, in there are 8 joints. Okay, there are 8 joints on that staff, representing the 8 limbs of yoga. Firstly, representing the 8 limbs of yoga, and secondly, it represents discipline. It represents discipline. That we are disciplined and peaceful individuals. And when you hold the staff of discipline, discipline in itself will get you places. Being peaceful will get you out of trouble. Saying less rather than saying more might be the best contribution you can make. Because when we understand the power of speech, the power of thought, and the power of yoga, we will understand that through the mind, that very kalsa can be moved without me moving it physically. The power of the mind. So the staff of a symbol, controlled by all of the 8 limbs of the yogas, Tandha Yoga, Yama and Niyama. So that's a different topic altogether. But to understand, to be disciplined as not just Sanatanis, Hindus, but as human beings. Nowhere in Katha tonight or anywhere in the Ramcharitamanas say that this is for Hindus, Sanatanis Hindus to practice. No. The evaluation is, it is for all of human beings, all human beings. I started by saying, Narata Samana, he came on a Dehi. How great is the human form? The human form. I didn't say Hindu form. The human form. All species, all of God's creation. He has created everybody in his fold. And therefore, bringing into his fold all of God's creation, everybody will become disciplined. And when we become disciplined, then our lives become more meritorious. We have one question before we conclude.
This beautiful judgment. Just a few lines of this bhajan, and if you go to Swamiji. So this is a really beautiful bhajan, and this of course is dedicated on behalf of a wonderful soul. And this beautiful bhajan, a few lines of the bhajan, we invite you all to join in and sing this beautiful rendition. उस पार लगा देना अब तक तो निभाया आगे दिलवा देना भगवान मेरी नैया उस पार लगा देना अब तक तो निभाया है आगे दिलवा देना
Always remember God. And most importantly as well, God have us, I may forget you, but please don't forget me. भगवान मेरी नैया तुम्हारी लगा देखना जब तक तुम्हारा है आगे बढ़ा देना गोविंद गुरु हरि गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो हरि गोविंद राधा राधा Making the conscious choice is entirely up to you. Bhagavan has given you that choice. So you can choose what is best for you. You know, you can choose if you are invited to a satsanga and you have a wedding party to attend. Which one would you choose? Coming to the satsanga or going to the wedding party? Which one will uplift you more? And when you probably would have attended the wedding party, you realize that you would have gotten yourself into difficulties there. And then you said, better had gone, better, we tell ourselves, better had gone to the satsang. It probably would have paid me off better because you've gone to the wedding and you're waiting to get food, right? But there is a time now for the serving of the food, and you're hungry now. I thought coming to the wedding, I probably would have gotten a little bit of food and satisfied. But you have to wait so long because this one have to speak, and the other one have to speak, and the next one have to speak, and your belly is going out. Gur 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 gur. Yeah, hungry. Hmm? Then you tell yourself, better we go to the satsang, I would have gotten prasad, I would have gotten bhojan, I would have gotten soft drink, I would have gotten water, I would have, so many things we would have gotten to have to partake. And waiting now, this one has to speak and the other one has to speak. And I'm hungry and we have to wait, we have to line up also because you have to be buffet style, self-serve. Yeah? How it is. So if you make a decision, the decision you make will alter your your judgment. So remember that. And finally, in Sri Lanka tonight, it's just about 8:32. We will be ending shortly. Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Everybody, let us chant the name of the Divine Lord. We have the opportunity now. Because you know what? We don't know if we'll get a chance again. We don't know. We don't know. So many things are happening in this world today due to COVID. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Today we are celebrating the life of Dr. Roopnarine Singh. We never thought that this would happen to him, right? So, in such an unfortunate situation, is he has succumbed to this COVID as well. It spares no one. Be it who you are, it spares no one. So we pray, asking Bhagwan to protect all of you. Protect your home, your family, your children, your loved ones. We pray, asking Bhagwan for that protection. Raksha karo Bhagwan, Raksha karo. Let us all glorify Bhagwan. जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय प्यारे राम सिया राम जय जय राम ओ सौरज धीरज ताहिरत छत्रा सत्यशील हृद द्वार प्रताता राम सिया राम ओ राम सिया राम ओ बाल विवेक नाम प्रतबोरा श्याम कृपस राजन घोरा राम सिया राम जय जय 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 राम श्री राम जय जय राम 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 जय राम जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम श्री राम जय जय 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 राम श्री रामचंद्र की जय. In this final verse, Bhagwan Sri Ram, he says, Sauraja Dhiraja Tyagi Rata Chakra. He says, just like a chariot is drawn by horses, we have 5 horses, and the chariot is drawn by 5 horses. The horses is taking the chariot, is taking the cart forward. Without the horses, do you think the chariot is going to move by itself? No, the chariot can't move by itself without the horses. So we need the horses to be firmly attached to the chariot so that it will be able to move from point A to point B. But even though you have the horses, we can't have the horses. One wants to go east and one wants to go west and one wants to go north. Then you will still can't move because then everything is going to be tangled. And the horses pulling here and pulling there and pulling all over. And what's going to happen to the chariot is going to be right limbering, topsy turvy. Or you know, it might even turn over because of the decision. But when the horses are firmly harnessed to the driver, what is going to happen? He is able to control the horses, all of them, to move in one direction. That's all. So you get from point A to point B. So who is this charioteer we must put upon this chariot? The chariot here, in the philosophy, it represents the human body. So the chariot is this human body. And the horses represents the senses. What does the senses do? The senses tells us to do all kinds of things. All kinds of crazy things. Like one of the things is indicate. Right? The senses is telling us to do that. Because of what? The sense of not only sight, but the sense of taste also. How good this cake will taste. So sweet. Chocolate. Frosting. Strawberry. Oh, yeah, delicious. Must have a piece. And what happened? The senses is telling you to have it. No? But if the senses are under control, then we know that we are disciplined. So we can have it little bit. Toda, toda, toda. No, no. The horses are under control by the charioteer, who is a charioteer to govern this body, who can sit in the mind and control the five faculties, the five senses. You see, in the human body, there is in the center of the forehead or forehead, there is, of course, this bindu here, right? The tika, the chandan, the tilak. And there's a reason why we place the tilak there. Because in science, will tell you that the pituitary gland is right there between the two eyebrows. The pituitary gland. And what does the pituitary gland does? It controls all of the sense organs. This is what the pituitary does. Sight and hearing and touch and taste and yeah, all of the things. These five senses. It controls it. So therefore, we are reminded every time when the tilak goes there that this tika, this chandal, this tilak tells us that we are divine beings. We are disciplined beings. We are monofocused. What is the focus? In getting salvation. Sadhana dhama moksha kara dwara. This is our purpose. We will be focused, controlling the senses, bringing the senses under control. Don't let the senses control you. You have to control the senses. And only when you control the senses, then, then you'll be able to move from A to B. Then we'll be able to go in a rhythm because everything is working together. And most importantly, who is driving the chariot? It is Bhagavan. मन ही ईश्वर मन ही देवता मन ही बरान कोई मन ही ईश्वर मन ही देवता that the mind in the mind will allow God to come and sit. He is the charioteer. He is the one who's going to drive this whole body to where it's supposed to go. So this is why we need not worry about Dr. Singh. Because you know what? He has paved the path. He has done his duty in serving the Lord, building this beautiful Gita ashram and yoga center, and daily cultivating the practices, wanting this ashram to be functional by the devotees coming and rendering your bhajans and your kirtan and performing your japam and doing your yoga and performing all of the different types of artis and puja, Satyanarayan, Vratkatha, to do puja, to do the Shiva Pradosh, come once a month and do the monthly Shiva Ratri, you know. Do Ganesh Utsav, Ganesh Chaturthi, Siddhi Vinayaka. We do all of these different things because these are the things and the practices that has been endured through the time, through the timeless ages, as Mr. Singh would have lived. So one of his best dreams and one of his requests is the continuation, the legacy that you want to leave behind. You know, I am summing up everything for you in one nutshell now. Everything I read tonight, I'm summing it up in one word for you tonight. But maybe it's a few words. The legacy you leave behind. What do you want? Ask yourself that question, devotees. My dear friends, Priyavad Bhaktajana. What do you want of this life? God has given to you this gift, and what you make of it is our gift to Bhagavan. Remember that. What you make of this life is our gift to God. He has given us this gift. What you do with it is important because that in itself will bring you the merits of this life. Naraka Swarabha Nishchay Devi Jnana Vairagya Bhakti Shakti. That is, choose the right decisions, devotees, so we can return to Ishvara, to Bhagavan, to that divine Lord, through the blessings of the Guru, through the blessings of the right decision. Leave a legacy that will take you to God. Siyavar Ramchandra ki jai. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hello everyone. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Jai Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Prabhu Shri Ramchandra ki jai. The decision you make to leave a legacy behind. Think about it tonight. What will be your legacy? Dr. G has left his. Hari Om Narayanaaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namah. Narayanaaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. We pray for the Atma now. Let us bow our heads in prayer, in supplication to Bhagavan, to bring peace to that Atma, wherever that Atma may be. We join tonight in devotion to gratify that Atma, to bring peace to that Atma. Om Manahino Deva Shankachakradhara Dhara Akshay Purvipaksham Pretamoksha Prabho Bhava Omkarum Vidu Samyuktam
नित्यं ध्यायन्ति योगिनो कामदं मोक्षदं चैव ओंकाराय नमो नमः ॐ अयोध्या मथुरमाय काशीवन्तिका पुरीद्वारका सप्तधाम प्रेतमोक्षप्रभूभवम् आद्यमूकगोत्रस्य तमूकप्रेतस्य ईशातिलं श्रीविष्णवे नमः तवो प्रतिष्ठताम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् मन्त्राहीनम् क्रियाहीनं भक्तिहीनं यत्पूजितं मया देवं परिपूर्णं कायेन वाचा भूतात्मना वा करोमि यज्ञं परस्य नारायणाय समर्पयामि ॐ सतो मा सतगमय तमसो ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय त्वमेव माता च्युतिका त्वमेव बन्धो शिखा त्वमेव विद्या त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव ॐ शान्ति 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 शान्ति शान्तिः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् प्रेम करो श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय सियावर रामचंद्र की जय सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय सतगुरुदेव शिवानंदा सरस्वती महाराज की जय श्री रामानंद सरस्वती महाराज की जय ओम तत्सत ओम तत्सत ओम तत्सत
Alright, so I'm looking at the faces and I'm thinking that Dr. Singh will be really happy tonight. I'm seeing all his favorite neighbors here. I'm seeing these people from the city. I haven't seen him for a while. His best friend, Lange, was here. He always said that his best friend, of course, his favorite neighbors, and yeah, the other neighbors as well. And the regular hardworking people here at the ashram, we have Sherry, who's always looking hard. You can see that. We have Nari and Usha and Robert and the guy who sells palette and Vicky. All right, so it's very nice to see all these familiar faces. We have Baby in the back there as well. I think that's your mom. No, okay, sorry, I'm giving you some else's mother. All right, so thanks again for coming, and this is just because we started off a bit late. So it was high time to be so. So thanks again, and we have refreshments. So it's not like we puja we had the other day, but it's different circumstances now. So thanks a lot for coming, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks. Thank you very much, Carol G. And of course, I would like to thank the members of the Shivananda Global Missions of SKCS, the Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sabha, and of course the students of the Caribbean Hindu University of the SKCS joining with us, the Panditas and Pandits joining this evening in Pravachan. I am yours truly, Swami Sada Shivananda Saraswati Ji Maharaj, bringing to you tonight's Pravachan. I will be here rejoining with you on the 25th, which will be the final night of the 10 days of the satsang. It doesn't mean that don't come the other nights. It means you need to come and support every other night, but rejoin me on the 25th, on the final night. We will do Pravachan once more. Indeed, it gives me great privilege and blessing to join here at the Gita Ashram and Yoga Center, now also called the Hindu Royal Society. So thank you all for being a part and for joining with us in today's pravachan. Pandit Ji, Pandit Anand Ji, Pandit Vikash Ji, Pandita Dinushka Ji, Pandit Gita Ji, and of course our dear wonderful sister and other members of the Shivananda Global Missions SKCS. Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. Don't forget, Bhagwan Holi is this Sunday, so enjoy peacefully, blissfully, spiritually. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Hari Om.